Yo, 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 yo. Welcome to Mike Check Monday. Mike will be checking in with us a bit. What's up, Siobhan? What's good, brother?
Yo, what's good?
Well, let's get everybody in the room here on a Monday night, man. How was the weekend, bro?
Everything was good, man. I see my team get whooped. I ain't surprised. You know what I'm saying? Whatever stadium they trying to build here in Jacksonville, they might as well put a halt to that, man. We got to win some more for that.
Yo, I think they might need to stay in London, bro. They might need to stay in London and just call it a day.
And bro, it's hard being a Jags fan, bro. But at least I'm not a Cowboys fan, you know.
Yeah, that's a little rough, man.
They took it worse.
That's a little rough, man. Unfortunately for me as a Cowboys fan, I'm in Atlanta. I saw the Falcons game yesterday, right? So we had that game in our markets. I couldn't see the beatdown, but I was disappointed, say the least, bro.
Yeah, man. They gave Jerry Jones a loss on his birthday. Happy birthday. Give him that birthday L, man.
That's all right. I got another game in London next week, and
Yeah, back to back. We did it the same thing last year. Yeah, I think it's the Patriots.
y'all should win that. If y'all don't win that, then y'all gonna make some changes.
To keep it a stack, every game we played, we should have won. They just trash, man. I mean, it's no. I don't know who to blame. Is it the players giving up, or if it's the coaches, man? It's just I'm not pleased with it. Honestly, we should have won all the games we played so far.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, let's start the show off, brother. On a somber note, man, we got some news that Brooklyn's own, has transitioned on. I think his wife put out a post informing people that he passed over the weekend at the age of 52. This brother, I kind of got hip to this brother's music thanks to this channel and thanks to the work that the fans kind of or our family kind of put us on. He just released an album, The Thief Next to Jesus, a few weeks ago, and it's just a sad situation, man. The album was pretty good. I mean, Leroy Green gave a great review on it, and yeah, he transitioned out, man. And his wife put out a statement that reads, "We are heartbroken to announce the passing of Kasim Ryan, the rapper and producer known as Ka, who died unexpectedly in New York on October 12th at the age of 52. Born and raised in Brownsville, Brooklyn, Ka lived a life of service to his city, to his community, and to his music. As a 20-year veteran of the New York City Fire Department, he put his life on the line to protect the fellow citizens. Ka rose to the rank of FDNY captain and was a first responder on September 11, 2001 during the attacks on the World Trade Center. He leaves behind an extraordinary legacy as a recording artist, including 11 remarkable self-released solo albums. Ka is survived by his wife, mother, and sister. We ask for privacy of Ka's family and loved ones to be respected as they grieve this uncalculable loss." So yeah, shout out to Ka. It's just a sad situation. Again, we just reviewed his album last month, and it is what it is, man. So shout out to his family, blessings to him and his people, and then we go from there, bro. So just everybody, every life is short, bro. Life could be long, or life could be long, or life could be short. But if we continue to live on our path, and our days will be blessed and numbered according to his will. We don't know when that number will be called, man. But shout out to that brother. He leaves behind some music, his family, and a community that respected his work, bro.
Yeah, I was reading into it when it came across. I seen a lot of people talking about it on the news feed, and I was trying to look in more into it, and they were saying there was no cause of death. So, I mean, they don't know the cause of death as of this moment. They haven't released it, so that's interesting as well, just as an update.
No doubt, no doubt. So, where you want to start the show? Well, I know you and Mike had a formula, and Mike will be joining us hopefully relatively soon. He's got a little emergency with the family he's dealing with. Where you want to start with it today, bro? I think we covered J.Cole last night, so I'm gonna kind of ease into that. You want to talk about Tip, and let's talk about Tip's legacy. He just made an announcement that he will be retiring at the
Yeah.
He's done with it. What's Tip's legacy to you? And I'll tell you about my legacy with Tip. And what's your legacy? What's Tip's legacy, and how will he be remembered in the game as the King of the South?
Yeah, see, like with Tip, I think he goes down as one of the best Southern lyricists of all time. I mean, we have to give him that. He wore the King of the South crown, and not too many debated that but one, and we seen what happened to him. So Tip, he has the catalog to stand by his name. He has a great run. And it only goes up from here outside of what he transitioned to outside of music. I mean, he said he wanted to work on some more movies, um, and he's not a bad actor. I don't know what he's gonna do in comedy or whatever, but I know with that lawsuit, I can see how you want to. That lawsuit he won, I can see how you want to sit down now. That 72 mil, however you slice it, that's still a lot of money to win. So I can see how you want to sit down, don't want to perform, and gonna do this last album. I know he's been speaking about this one last album for like the past year or whatever. So I'm wanting to see what his career transitions to. As far as his legacy, for me being in Jacksonville, I know the impact was probably different for y'all being in Atlanta or whatnot, but for me, I feel like I rode with Ti from the beginning of his career, because I remember we had the event here in Jacksonville called Come Together Day, and I remember back when they'll have little street teams or whatnot, and they were pushing his it was like a sample CD. It had like 5 joints on there, and I remember the last joint on there was Jacking for Beats, and ever since I heard Tip on that, I was like, yeah, I'm checking for him. So when he came with I'm Serious, I was on that. And then when it just keep on rising, it was like I was following his career while growing up. So Tip hit a lot of points for me in my life and growing up and being a soundtrack in my life as a teenager, and seeing his come up was also kind of cool, and seeing the ebbs and flows of his career. So the legacy to me is solidified. He goes down as top 5 Southern MC of all time to me. Um, he could spit. He has the albums to stand behind him. He's been battle tested, won. He's overcome adversity, and now we're starting to see that next step in his career as a father, as a businessman, and um, I'm looking forward to see what this next step in his career looks like.
No doubt, no doubt. So I kind of mirror what you're saying. I came up with Tip, from day zero, right? He went to my high school for a
Mm.
little bit. I think he stayed for like a couple weeks. Trouble Man got in a little bit of trouble, and I think he slid out. But a lot of Big Country Kane went to our high school, who was in PSC.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I knew a lot of those cats. So when I first got familiar with Tip, it was when he was signed to Arista, and I'm Serious came out, and I think they had um, a promotional pressing of the CD, right?
Mm.
So Mike used to like his cousin. You know what I'm saying? So we went over to his cousin's house one day, and Tip might have been there or whatnot, but somebody gave us a CD, right? And we got back in the whip and we heard it. You know what I'm saying? This was I'm Serious. You know what I'm saying? And we threw the CD out the window. We tossed it because we thought it was
Oh
whack.
man.
We weren't hip, but a couple months later, we got the album came out, and we kind of understood what he was doing. When he first came out, he was with the Neptunes. Neptunes made a lot of those beats, and then he kind of segued into the next wave of Ti, right? So in Atlanta, well, in the South, there was different waves of people that had it at the time, right? So in the South, of course, Dungeon Family had it, right? And then we had So that Bass All Stars, Jermaine Dupri, they had their little run, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then P came out. So a lot of New Orleans music was down in Atlanta and kind of permeated Atlanta back when we were coming up. So that was their time. That No Limit had it, then Cash Money had it, and then Pastor Troy had it. Pastor Troy had a big wave. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So his wave was like crazy. And then the next person after that was Ti. But Ti had 2 waves, right? He came out, I'm Serious, kind of bubbled. Then he came back around, Dope Boys in the Trap, you know what I'm saying? He came back around, and then, Urban Legend came out, and it kind of solidified, trap music. Trap music kind of put him to that next level. And then it kind of was the gap between his wave and then Jeezy's wave, you know what I mean? But speaking of what you said, top 5 Southern MC of all time. Arguably, if we were to compile a list of 50 MCs, definitely top 50.
yeah, yeah.
From what he did as a pop, as the creator, that's debatable because some say Gucci did it. The creator of trap music, and also being on pop hits, right? He was on Justin Timberlake's joint, Robin Thicke's joint. He did joints with Jamie Foxx. with Usher. You know what I'm saying? He's been solidified in different lanes and going to the acting world. So, he'll be missed. I don't understand the retirement piece of it. I think he's a relatively young man. We're about the same age. So I don't know why now, but he says he don't want to dance around for money no more, and I feel it. But shout out to Tip, the King of the South, Down with the King mixtape. It just is what it is, man. And his legacy is solidified.
Yeah, facts. It's funny. He says that he is going to retire from it because I feel like true lovers of the game and people that really loves this thing we call hip hop, man, they truly never really retire or stay away from long. Now, this may in fact be his last album. I know on the Breakfast Club he was saying that they are working on the PSC album, so we could see him on there possibly as well. But like performing, he may step away from it a year or so from now, and he may want to get right back into it again. It's like every artist kind of find a way to be inspired and catch the bug to want to return back to that stage. I feel like in hip hop, we're kind of robbed of seeing artists transition to that next stage. Like we see their appearances, but it's like hip hop is such a young guy sport, that when artists get to this point in their careers where they have kids and they done been in the game, we seen them when they were young and they were wilding out. We seen them when they were just trying to figure it out. We never see truly what these artists become to be and what stage and what they have to talk about at this point in their life, because I guess they kind of feel uninspired or feel nobody wants to hear it. But I sometimes feel like we're robbed of seeing what that next stage of a grown them is looking like, their perspective on things in the music, I would say.
Right. I'm trying to think, what artists have we seen that transition, right? Because maybe with Big Boy a little bit, maybe I'm trying to think, who else can we see? Maybe with Snoop, because Rhythm and Gangsta, and the Blue Carpet, treatment. Those albums were kind of like more funk oriented, so they kind of show the growth of him. Not being the OG gangster, but just more of a musician, because those albums are really musical, right? They have R&B, funk, blues. So Snoop kind of showed that grown man growth. I'm trying to think who else, man.
Yeah, we've seen it in Nas, we've seen it in Jay, we've seen it in Busta still makes albums. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been too hip to any of his newest works, but I know his last album was nominated for a Grammy, if that means anything to everybody. But to see artists like that still moving on and creating music for like just growing with their music is it's amazing to me. We got it with certain artists, but that's not something that we're privileged to have it all the time, is hearing what artists have to say in their next phase in life.
No doubt. Mad Max with the super chat says, I want to say RIP to Kai, number 1. 2, Tip, T.I. ain't top 5 Southern MC ever. Sorry. Luda, 3K, 3 Stacks, Pimp C, Scarface, clear over him, and you can debate T.I. with 6 to 10 other people. 3, I told y'all Big Glow, album of the year, best female rapper. Oh, so Ron gonna get into Big Glow.
We'll get to that.
We're gonna get into Big Glow in a minute. But Mad Max, I don't know. I think you gotta put Tip in the top 5. I mean, let's say Scarface, right? Let's say Scarface. I give you that.
Yeah.
Scarface. Let's say Wayne.
Yes.
Who else he say? Let me pull him back up. He says Scarface. Come on, son. Now let's keep.
I love Pimp C, but we can't put Pimp C in there as a solo artist.
Nah, you can't do that. And let's be for real. Mad Max might be the only man on the planet that think Luda has a better catalog and can rap better than T.I.
Well, I do think that Luda needs more respect in that field, though, because Luda, up until a certain point, Luda wasn't given any bad albums. To some people, his music aged poorly because how animated it is. He had some hits out of that, but Luda never really gave us bad albums. I know that's debatable, putting him over a Tip or whatever. I wouldn't go as far as saying that, but I would say Luda could spit, and I just think that he doesn't get the credit he deserves for that, because people look at his music as being so fun and animated and not realizing that like Luda can actually spit. He holds his own. I've heard him on records with big MCs, Nas, Jay. I hear him hold his own with other greats that we respect, and he gets busy. Yeah, man, we gotta put some respect on Luda's name, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Luda broke doors down here and down in Atlanta. But when we talk about those waves, though, right? And like we define those waves, like the wave when you go outside, you at your cousin's house, you at the barbecue, at the barbershop, you at the club. Luda had them records, but it wasn't those waves, right? And it's hard to describe. Like when Jeezy dropped, you knew Jeezy was in the streets. You know what I'm saying? You know Jeezy had the people. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Luda ever had it like that. I mean, we like Luda. We rock with Luda. He made dope music. I mean, they played his music on the radio. He had hits, but it wasn't like you didn't go everywhere and people were vibing like, yo, did you hear that new, Can't Ban the Snowman? You know what I'm saying? It was different. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have Luda didn't really have the mixtapes like that. That really had the people kind of like going crazy like that. Even 2 Chainz run, you know what I'm saying? If you want to think about it, I mean,
that's a stretch. I mean, I think we're confusing like those moments. I know what you're speaking of. You're speaking out the movements and the impact, and I think we kind of confuse that with like the career itself, because I don't want to. Everybody who strikes gold has a moment. Even Luda had a moment. I don't want to make the moment be the sum up of somebody's whole career. I mean, I seen Luda put in work on back-to-back albums of heat, and didn't capture the streets. He wasn't a street rapper, but with that being said, he also was creative. He just had a ear for hits and had an ear for the creativity. I mean, I remember Back for the First Time and Word of Mouth, and then Chicken and Beer, and then Theater of Mind or Red Light District. Like these are albums that he had content. He had the records. He had the features. He was spitting. Like, it could have been fun. It could have been upbeat. It could have been animated. But I feel like that's a true testament to somebody when you can't be just stuck in a box, that you really have to, because you're not of certain things, you have to find ways to be creative. It kind of reminds me of like the conversation that I have with Missy Elliott, because Missy's somebody who couldn't necessarily sell sets like the other female rappers that was popping around her time. And she found a way to be creative, from her writing standpoint to production, her being able to sing, her being able to be creative with her music videos, just certain things. Luda pulls from that. He's of those Busters, those Missies who figured it out and was creative and was able to, stand the test of time with that. And then when he went to transition to movies, he transitioned out of movies. So, I gotta give Luda his respect, because I seen him hold his own on so many records with these artists.
No doubt. There's no doubt. Mad Max with the super chat again. He still ain't letting it go, Mad Max. Damn, man. LOL. Luda definitely over T.I. Put them on a versus stage. Well, they had a versus, and Savron, you remember that. They didn't even think to put T.I. on a versus stage.
Who was Luda against again? Was it Nelly?
He went against Nelly.
Which doesn't sound bad on paper, but that was before we got the verses on the stage, where it was a little bit the production. That was early verses, and Nelly wasn't prepared, man. And that's when you start seeing the lessons of, it's not about you having a joint. Sometimes it's about your playlist and what's coming up or whatever. Because when I first seen Nelly versus Luda, I was like, that don't sound bad. But entertainment wise, I couldn't be mad at a Tip versus Luda.
I couldn't be mad about that, but I think I really think, like, judging by the mixtapes, I think it'll get dark early for Luda, because T.I. can pull from so much. Like Luda gonna hit you with them big joints, some big records, right?
Yeah,
he gonna hit you with those, right? But T.I.'s catalog is just so like the underground shit, Down with the King. You know what I'm saying? The stuff he did with Drama. It's gonna be, you even alluded to Jackin' for Beats. Luda ain't got nothing like that. He can do. If he do Jack for Beats, he might do Major Look remix. He might drop his verse on there. I think he did that on the
board. He has some features. Luda got some features.
Yes, that's a good one. That's a good one.
He got some hits, man.
My thought was that when it was time to discuss verses back in the day, they never brought up Luda against T.I. It was like T.I. versus Wayne, T.I. versus 50, T.I. versus Busta. They never thought that they were in the same weight class, and that's all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, for the lengths that Luda has went in his music and T.I. respectfully, I think that would have been a great matchup. I mean, T.I. does have his hand in some mixtapes, you know, and I think their features is probably about equal. Putting their albums up against each other, I think is like it just depends on your preference. But I think that would have been a great run. You know what I'm saying? I've seen both of their come ups, and I was there for the beginning of their careers, and then seeing what they've transitioned to now is like it's dope for hip hop. It's dope for the South, number one. And their origin stories is even doper. I mean, I was listening to T.I. on a Breakfast Club, and him and Dro started talking to their old street stories. And I was like, oh man, see, these are the interviews I like to hear, like where it's not, oh, okay, they're not incriminating themselves, but they can still speak on some things that had occurred. We don't really get that. You know, T.I. had a podcast he was doing. I don't know if he still does it, but we got a little bit of that conversation there. So to see that and how they talking and the music, I think it's real dope. So, like I said, like with Luda, we got to see what he started doing. He got the Hollywood money, he never looked back. T.I., we seen that he did his thing with the movie, but he caught the case back and forth. And, we seen him in a few movies, but we never seen him really get into his bag. So, like, yeah, I want to see what he got coming. It's funny because they say T.I. originally was supposed to, he was being considered originally for Method Man's character in Power Book 2 Ghost. And then when Method Man came in there, he blew it away. So that would have been interesting seeing Tip as a lawyer on there and him being in that show. But who knows? Him and 50 may work in the future. So I do want to see what Tip got going on with this next transition in life outside of music. And I want to know what his last album is going to sound like, most importantly.
No doubt. 3 things. That would have been dope with him on Power. I could have said that.
Yeah.
That would have been dope. That would have been dope. And I know when Versuz was popping off, he was calling 50 out. Like he wanted 50 real bad. And I don't know. I think 50 would have drug him in the Versuz, but that's just me.
Well,
but he wanted 50 bad.
We say that about 50 because he had such a monster of an album. People be like, man, just play the whole Get Rich or Die Trying, he'll win. That's not really how Versuz go. I mean, and I know he had joints on The Massacre. The Massacre was really good, but he had a lot of mixtape joints too. And then he has a G-Unit album. But like really when we get into the album wise, I think T.I. has the rundown of more albums. It's just 50 just has that monstrous album you could always pull from. So I don't know, man. Because a lot of people were saying 50 versus Ja Rule around that time. We knew that wasn't gonna happen, but when you really start comparing and start looking at it, I'm like, Ja Rule has some monstrous hits, and I know it looks overlooked because 50 won that whole thing. But when we break down the music, I don't know, man. That would have been good too.
I don't know which about that one, Sir Vaughn. We gotta do that on a Rumble or something because
it looks different because it's hard to judge back with our eyes of 2024 because we see Get Rich or Die Trying being this big ass album, and then the momentum kept going into The Massacre. It went into the G-Unit album and what came from the mixtapes, but it's like, I guess the music compared to Ja Rule couldn't be comparable now when I'm thinking about it too, because he had more lady records. And I know like 50 had a few of those too, but that wasn't the bulk of his catalog.
Right. He had a lot of street, like the Return of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That whole series was like The Mechanic. That's a crazy record. Like 50 can just give you so many. Then he had the one You Can Never Take My Crown. Then he had Flight 187.
Yeah, like he has street records, he have hit records, he got lady records. So yeah, but it would have been dope to see, because like I said, when you get into these versus situations, it's never about how many joints you have that's better than the other. It's about how you play them. And the reason I say that, because we look at the Dipset versus Lots thing, and everybody was like, man, Dipset is gonna win. And then you just seeing Kiss, like his showmanship and the way that stuff was presented and how it was like, oh man,
right. Your DJ game got to be on point on Versuz.
So it was like, I don't know, man. This is, sometimes, and then like I said, even though this was before the big production of Versus, um, we start talking about like the Nelly and Luda one, and it was like, man, Nelly had those big records, he had that run, but when you structure your playlist how you do, it can get ugly, man. Sometimes I feel like the playlist has to be just as good as what you have as far as a catalog as well.
No doubt, no doubt. Mad Max with the super chat says Ti only like that in ATL Luda Global. Mad Max, nah, man. You had
Ti is nationally known.
Ti, he's nationally known, man. Ti had, Ti got love in New York. Again, those pop records were big. He was on some of the biggest records of the early 2000s. You got the Robin Thicke joint, you got the Justin Timberlake joint, you got Swagger Like Us. He was on that joint. You got the song with Jimmy Fox. I mean, he had a lot of records, man. Mad Max with the super chat again says 50 would have smoked Ti. Now I don't know if he would have smoked Ti, but I think he would have won. And Mad Max with the last super chat says mixtape collabs, 50 albums, 50 smoking Ti. Half of the dot is 50. Bro, it's easy work. Victoria Freestyle would have went crazy. Ghetto Quran. People forget smoke dudes off mixtape songs. Again, yeah, you're right. So 50 got that mixtape catalog that I think a lot of folks can't draw from, but T.I. could draw from his mixtape catalog. You know what I'm saying? Siobhan already said, Jacking for Beats, Down with the King, the stuff he did with Drama, he can pull from that. I mean, that Wayne, 50, and T.I., any combination of that is going to be a crazy battle because they got the mixtapes to draw from. Even Fat.
Like I said, like with 50, we start thinking about how big Get Rich or Die Trying is, but people are like, oh, 50 will watch Wayne. I'm like, I can't say that because Wayne had more of a fire mixtape run. Like 50's up there. He's goated in that Mount Rushmore mixtapes to me. But I feel like Wayne, his feature run in those mixtapes, that would have got interesting for 50 as well. So it's like when we watch Versus, there was only a certain amount of people that allowed mixtape joints in there. When they're just talking about like on wax, their albums and features or whatever, that's when I think it will get ugly for a lot of people cutting out those mixtapes,
Right. It's interesting, man. But shout out to Tip and shout out to his manager, his former manager, his homegirl, Dina Marto. She's big in the city, in the music game, man. Friend of the family, and she's been around for a long time in this music game. And so shout out to Tip, man. Hopefully we'll see him on his next step, the PSC album, maybe in movies, maybe another television show. I don't know, but whatever the case may be, we wish Chip the best in his endeavors, and he is. I think he earned the moniker. He is the king of the South, man. So whether you like it or love it or not, he's the king of the South.
And seeing his kids doing their thing, like seeing Domani in music and seeing Messiah and what he's doing in music, just to see the branches from Tip is kind of cool as well, seeing his seeds, because we listen back to I'm Serious and I listen to Still Ain't Forgave Myself, and then I see his kids having kids. It's like, man, like I see Domani just had a kid. I see King got a baby on the way. It's like, it's crazy. I remember watching them when they were jits on Family Hustle. So like, yeah, you feel like you grew with Tip, you feel like you've seen him establish the family. We've seen his ups and downs. You've seen his success. And it's kind of like you grew with him, so it's dope seeing him transition and being able to have the opportunity to transition to this next point in his career.
No doubt. Yo, so we like to I like to give people their victory laps when I can. And Servan, you were on this on last week, and you were talking so highly about GloRilla.
Yes,
you were saying that she had the game from a female perspective, and in her album, you were hearing, based upon the track list that you saw, that her album was going to be like that. I had my reservations because I've got a soft spot for one female rapper in particular that I won't name right now because we're talking about Glo. But you heard the Glo record. What did you think about the joint?
Yeah, man, solid, man. She didn't disappoint me, man. I like Glo's last project. I think it was a mixtape she did. But when I hear Glo, first of all, I like the production. I like her features. There was only one questionable feature on there, and it wasn't mainly because of the song. It was kind of like his flow on it. And that was a joint with Boss Man D-Lo. And I actually like Boss Man D-Lo. I just felt like he didn't come into a world, which is fine because everybody have their own flow. We respect it. But I kind of felt his flow over that beat was kind of like, it was like him battling with that beat a little bit. But other than that, man, I like her album Mill Solid. She gives me, give me the feeling of those Memphis spitters. You know what I'm saying? It brings me back to listen to 3 6 Mafia or and the 8 Ball MJG and stuff like that. She just has that sort of aggressive flow, but still be saying some slick shit, man. Like I got in when I was listening the first 4 joints, it was like boom, boom, boom. She was hitting you with them, and then in the middle of it, she hit you with the Kirk Franklin record. Was actually not a bad record. Her features was on point, and I'm just like, man, she may have a good solid argument as one of the best albums of the year. I know that's a stretch for some people, but for me, I think she has a very solid debut album. I feel like I wish I would have heard Cardi on his album since they did so well on Tomorrow too. So I was wishing that she was on it. But like her record with Meg was dope. I like the sample of the Wipe Me Down joint with Sexy Red. I can hear that in the clubs. I like her joint with Lotto. There's some joints that she had by herself on there that was solid. So man, she really came with a dope, solid album, man. I'm kind of proud of her with what she came with as far as a record so far.
No doubt. So this year we had albums. We had a mixtape from Sexy Red. We had Meg Thee Stallion dropped an album.
Did Lotto drop something this year too?
Yeah.
Lotto dropped the album this year.
Lotto, yeah, she dropped an album this year. We had Ice Spice drop a joint. Yeah, Rhapsody drop a joint. And now we got GloRilla in the female scene dropped an album. So I'm gonna go back and listen to all those joints. But from what I'm hearing, I think Lotto, and I think GloRilla's got the best album. But I think right after that, you got Lotto, and that hurts me to say because I'm a big Lotto fan. but yeah, Glo got it. Glo got it right now. I think her album's better than Meg's album.
Yeah,
way better than Ice Spice album was not even I mean, I heard it like twice, and I was like, it took me like 10 minutes to go through. It was like a 16-minute album, if you can even call it that. And yeah, so I think she got it, bro.
One thing that I have on this Glo album that I like too is like the transitions to the next song. This is really structured like how an album should be structured to me. And what was it? Probably like 15 songs, I believe. It probably shorter. I think it was just a total of 15. I don't have it brought up for me, but I never got bored with the record. I never was like, man, let me turn this off. Like I kind of felt like that a little bit with listening to Meg's album. I wish it was kind of reduced a little bit. Meg's album actually wasn't that bad, but it was like I wish you could have reduced it a little bit because it hit like a time where all the records started to kind of sound alike. As for Glo, it's like she put her foot on the gas and she kept going on the whole. She was gassing on the whole album, and then I think it makes it a little bit better because Glo's easy to like. I've seen her in these interviews, and I seen her on the Jennifer Hudson stuff. I seen her do the sit down with Charlemagne, and I see these little shows and stuff she goes on, the interview she gives, and she seems so genuine with who she is. And seeing her come up, seeing from her making it off TikTok and having a having a record that just blew up and how she dealt with that and going to Gotti and the criticism that they had on her looks and stuff like that, and now seeing her just kind of making her foot in the game, stand for something. I can't hate on it, man. I don't know why a lot of people would. I don't know if that's just like a thing with female rap is it's easy to hate for some, but for Glo, man, she did her thing. Like I have nothing bad to say about it. I'm looking to see what she got for next, because for me, I haven't heard another female rap album that was probably up there since Cardi's album. So I like this.
No doubt. When you get a chance, check out Lotto's last joint. Let me know what you think. It came out like a month or two ago, I think.
I heard like half of Lotto's joint, and it was just like, I guess a thing that does it for me for Lotto is like, she makes records that's like TikTok records for me, I guess, And I like her. I think she actually could rap, but I know it's actually like a character because I seen her from the TV show, and I see her growing to this, and then I see this character, and but a lot of her music as of lately has been like that trendy, that TikTok stuff. Like there's not a chance I can't get on my IG and see that it's not a song that's with a caption or something on a girl.
Big Mama, the Big Mama record, the Big
Yeah,
Mama.
so it's like her records sound like, just like TikToky, records to me. And I actually like her voice on records, but to me, I kind of like her more on features more than I do of her bodies of work. But let me not throw that out there too much because I didn't listen to the whole album. I listened to half of it. But for me, I like this Glow joint. I like it. I'm not ashamed to play it out loud or whatever. Glow spitting, man. She's spitting.
She got that Memphis swagger, man. Memphis
Yeah.
Memphis produces a lot of dope, dope artists, man. It's a slept on. It's not really a slept on city because Memphis, with Gotti and Dolph and Moneybagg Yo, and then
Yeah.
before them 3-6 and 8 Ball MJG. You know what I'm saying? You got people. Memphis has its own scene that you can't really tell the story of hip hop without talking about Memphis. So shout out to Memphis, man. Mike D's in the building. What's good, Mike?
I was good, guys, man. I
Yeah,
man, I
it's good.
appreciate you standing there, Ron, man. Yeah, I had to take the dog to the vet, dog breathing funny and all that stuff going on, but
Damn.
yeah. So is life, man.
So,
Shout out to
so
everybody in the room, man. I appreciate you guys.
It was
All
good.
right. I know y'all talking about Glow. Did y'all already talk about this J. Cole record yet?
nah, we did. We talked
Definitely
about
not
Tip.
to it.
We talked about Tip. We talked about Glow, and we
Well,
talked about So let's talk about J. Cole if you want to do that, bro.
I got some things to say about the Tip thing. I guess we could start there. T.I. saying that he's retiring for performances is very interesting because y'all know how highly I speak of T.I. and his incredible career, and I can't be a hypocrite here because, I think that when we talk about music not aging well or not being able to be carried over into the next generation, performance is very important. I literally watched a group like the Fugees' legacy die off because they weren't there to continue to support their music, right? They weren't there on stage to continue to, well, they didn't make any new music either, but they didn't push forward that music that they made. Same thing with Outkast. I think that a lot of Outkast's catalog, I don't want to say it's fallen on deaf ear, but it hasn't aged in the way that a Tribe Called Quest or somebody like that has because you never saw them on stage continuing that legacy. And to me, at this point, with the type of catalog that T.I. has and the type of legacy that he obviously wanted to bring forth coming through the door, it almost sounds like you're giving up. You're giving up on the fact that, people don't hold you to the regard that they hold Wayne for whatever reason. And I know T.I.'s out here rapping his ass off on features. He's put in the work. And it's probably frustrating the fact that with all the work that he put in and all that he's accomplished and, the level that he raps at, that he doesn't get appreciated for it. So I think that this is more of a, like he said, I don't need the money anymore and I'm bowing out. Now, I don't know if that settlement had anything to do with it. For the people who don't know, he just got that. Well, him, Tiny, and their daughter got the settlement from the toy company, like 71 something $million or whatever. I don't like counting people's pockets. I don't know, but again, that was like a week or so ago in the news, a week or two ago, and then 2 weeks later, somebody he don't need the money. He's doing his last performance. Now I don't know if this is a situation where T.I. is trying to get people on board, for something new that he's doing or just kind of see if people will miss him. But he's been saying for like the past year or two that he's about to drop his final album. And we hadn't even gotten Kill the King yet either. So I don't know, man, but it kind of sounds like more of a giving up, unfortunately, than a farewell. And, even with him saying it's his last performance, I hate to say it, but it's not like the social media world's going crazy with people like, no, Tip, don't leave. And that's a shame because it should be like that.
You know, oh, you can get to the super chat, Ron.
Yeah. Mad Max for super chat real quick. Glow Clean Lotto's wax self on pressure. About to double your girl in sales. Big Glow. I've been told you album of the year. Mad Max says Lotto makes songs. He says latte. Is that a typo, Mad Max, or you meant to say Lotto? Lotto. I'll correct it for you. Lotto makes songs for 12-year-old girls to pop their fruit. Pause. And she herself sounds like a 15-year-old broke. Sounds like a high schooler rapping. Glow way better. And it's not even close. All right, Mad Max. Whatever, bro. Might continue. Oh, Siobhan, you had to say something.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Siobhan.
So, Mike, I said this earlier. I was like, with Tip, it's kind of like when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at my point when I said like rappers in hip hop, we are robbed of the opportunity to see what that next phase of grown artists sounding like, what they sound like as a grown rapper. You know, we got to see them young and wilding out, and them on the bubble, and then when they hit the limelight and at the top, and then after that, it's kind of like they disappear. We don't never see what that next phase in their career sounds like, and I kind of feel like Tip, we have, because we grew with him, we seen it, and we also heard it in the music. I mean, really, after this last album, I'm trying to think about the things that Tip will actually have to give us that's new. You know, he's talked about his trials and tribulations and his losses and, you know, his cases. You know, he put a lot of that on paper trail. We've always kind of got a documentary of who Tip is in his music. So I never want an artist to just make music just for the hell of making it. I want you to always have something to speak about. And if it's going to be party music, it could just be party music if that's your bag. But I kind of feel like with Tip, he's an exception because I felt like he gave us everything we want as far as him, you know. And so I'm not mad at him bowing out and saying this is my last album, this is my last time performing. But like I said, when you really love the hip hop game and you love rap, I don't see people always leaving that stage for so long. It's always something that will bring them back. And I feel like, yeah, that's something right now, but I could see Tip coming back to perform now. As far as albums, I don't know. I don't see it. But I feel like he gave us enough to where he could, you know, ride out to the sunset and be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. LP's in the chat. He made some interesting points. That is T.I., you know, thought of as a thug? Is he thought of as like Future, Jeezy, Ross? I mean, there's a lot of people that had waves, you know. But again, I think to your point, Siobhan, I think there's things to say. I think he can take like, you know, the LL approach and kind of speak as an elder statesman. You know what I'm saying? He can approach it like Jay did on American Gangster. He can approach it like Nas did with the Hit Boy run, right? Kind of like somebody that's recapturing or recounting the days that he lived, right? And again, giving game to the new generation, right? He can take that approach. And he kind of did that on like a little bit on Paper Trail. And I think what was the other one, the Libra Scale. You know what I'm saying? He kind of talked about some of those things that kind of transitioned to like the OG. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
I mean, you know, yeah, you're right. You're right. He tried. And I think the thing is, and the challenge, not to interrupt you, Ron, but the challenge for somebody like T.I. is the fact that his whole image was built on being that wild young cat that was just crazy, and not just crazy like on the mic, but just with, you know, just a hothead. And the energy kind of just translated through the music, through his image. And I hate to say it, but people just didn't want to see him grow up. And honestly, his grown up stuff is good, but it doesn't match that same energy. I think Jeezy kind of deals with that too. It seems like Jay-Z might have been the only person to really be able to make that transition like that. But again, Jay wasn't really wild per se. You know what I mean? And I think that transition is really hard for the fans when they remember when they were young, wild, listening to you, young and wild. And then when you start growing up, it's like, you know, it doesn't translate. And I will say this, and this is the elephant in the room. I think T.I.'s legal issues, for better or for worse, have plagued his whole career. You know, I think that, you know, the notion that he may have told and all those things have plagued his career. I think the fact that he was away for so and key points in his career because he was locked up, has plagued his career. And yeah, I think that his attempt to clean that image by, getting on a reality show, which I think was a good move at the time to kind of show him as a family man, that also kind of took away from that rapper that we knew as well. So his career has been very, very interesting.
As a rebuttal, I would say, Mike, I actually think he was one of the best to ever do it as far as being locked up and coming out and still
Oh,
coming
yeah.
with that music. I feel like it's probably hurt him as far as money, but as a consumer, T.I. go in, he comes out, and he blessed us with a good quality work before those times happened. That I really didn't see him hit a hole where it's like we forgot him. I feel like it didn't really take as much as a hit towards his music as we think when we're looking back at it, hindsight.
Well, maybe I'm thinking more so towards the beginning, right? Like he was supposed to be on Goodies instead of P.D. Pablo, but he was locked up. He was supposed to be on that Source cover and getting some of the stuff that Lil Flip was getting, but he was locked up,
But he
And
recovered from that, Mike.
He recovered from all of these things, but you know what? And also, as an artist, yes, he recovered from a lot of those things. But you think about the artists that he had. He had Iggy, he had B.O.B., he had Meek Mill first, he had Travis Scott first, he had Dro and those guys, and he was locked up. He wasn't able to handle these careers like he could have. Like Wayne was able to do the Young Money thing, and Wayne got locked up too, but he was able to launch his acts properly, and Tip couldn't do that because of his legal troubles.
Well, here's a thing too, though, Mike. That is one knock I do have against Tip is like his artists, how he developed them. But we also have to look at who his biggest artists were. Like he had like Iggy, yeah, okay, but you had Dro, and we know what Dro issue was, and Dro was just as dope.
Yeah.
But we know what Dro's issue was. Young LA, he had that hit, and then that wasn't, Then we had was B.O.B. Grand Hustle.
Yeah, he was. B.O.B. was mishandled.
So, we see that how that happened, and then Alpha Mega, we know what happened with that. So it was like some of the blame is like, yeah, we can say Tip as far as the eye on talent and who he was trying to bring out the streets, but some of those artists kind of like weren't putting in the work to sustain success with being on Grand Hustle at all.
What about me?
Like Tokyo Jets is from my city. She was like the last hurt person I know that signed the Grand Hustle or Hustle Gang. And honestly, I could say, Tip put her on albums, he put her on joints, but it just like it didn't catch for her outside of just us in Jacksonville rooting for her or whatever. Like she didn't have the records. And for me, I'm kind of like, I've never seen a rapper play CEO so well where people came from under him. It was really the next one since like a 50, everybody under 50 floors. They had at least got one album out, but it's not too many rappers turned CEOs that really got a lot of people under them. Because when we could say to Wayne, we could say, okay, that's Wayne, Young Money, but it's still Young Money, Cash Money with that Universal backing. So yeah, Wayne may get that credit because he's the person that told us Drake is the next when he's hot, Nicki's the next when they hot, but they still have more of a machine behind them than just Wayne driving them. It wasn't like he was Master P and he was everybody's getting an album, they doing successful. That's kind of rare within our era of music.
I mean, you don't think he dropped the ball? He had Meek Mill, he had Travis Scott. Travis Scott's one of those. You know what? Travis Scott really is kind of like a Kanye West for him. Like how Kanye was for Jay. He's self-sustained. You don't need to do anything but basically back this person. This dude can pretty much make his own stuff, get his own stuff together. Like Travis Scott.
What was the story about the Travis Scott stuff? I mean, we heard stuff with Meek. There was a few people that was up for grabs for Meek, but what was the story with the Travis Scott one? Because I never really heard that.
Travis Scott's on Grand. Well, he was on Grand Hustle. He was on Grand Hustle first. That's how I found out about him. And I mean, I don't see how you don't ride that career into the sunset. I mean, and like I said, he had Meek first. Like he had Meek straight off of the battle rapping and stuff.
Well, I don't know if Meek was a big loss, man. Meek, all right. You know what I
I
mean?
think Meek is a big loss. I mean, we can say whatever we want about Meek. Meek is a notable name. Like Meek,
Yeah.
he is. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a big Meek fan personally, but if we're just talking about the business of it all, I would be wrong to say that Meek is not a commodity out here in his generation. He is. I mean,
Meek was hot.
Yeah, you know what? In our era, I would say he's kind of like, he would be like a Redman. Like he's a gold artist. Like he's an artist that you know who he is. He might not go out there and get you like multi-platinum or whatever, but yeah, this is a serviceable artist for real.
Yeah, I mean, Meek never gave a bad album. I'm just gonna put that out there. Let's be real. Meek never gave a bad album.
But see, again, when you see what Ross was able to do with Meek, right? And again, I don't know if it's one of those things where you have an artist that's over people's careers that's trying to be the number one artist. I think that's always a conflict of interest, as opposed to somebody like you said, a 50 or Rick Ross, where their mindset is more so the business of it all, and let me see what I can do to really manage this artist.
But we see how MMG kind of fell apart too, though, Mike. Like, you know, when I look at the MMG roster and everybody they had, and it's kind of like, it's a shame that the bulk of what we got from that was just Wale and Meek. They had Stolly and didn't know what to do with them.
Stolly's dope.
Exactly.
Stolly slept on. Like
they had that Maybach roster was pretty dope, but we never really heard anybody else outside of Ross, Wale, and Meek, really, you know.
And what's his name is kind of like a Dro, if you will. What's his name? You know what I'm talking about. Florida dude. Light-skinned dude, braids, crazy.
Gunplay?
You know, Gunplay. Yeah, Gunplay is kind of a Dro in a sense.
Gunplay's nice. Bible on the Dash is still one of my favorite joints from him.
Shit, man. Cartoons and cereals really what sold a lot of people on Kendrick.
You know, Meek is a victim of Meek. You know, the Twitter fingers. You know, that's the issue. It's just Meek is a victim of Meek. He had a redemption moment after the Drake stuff, whatever. Meek is literally doing it to himself. You know, the social media stuff.
And I think Game contributed a lot of Meek's downfall. I mean, because Game cooked Meek.
I don't think that Game impacted.
I don't think people paid attention to that like that. I agree with you, but I don't think people paid attention to that like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Meek ever recovered after the back-to-back thing, to be honest.
I mean, he had a dope album afterwards. I mean, the Champions album was dope too. I just feel like
Championships was dope.
Yeah, I just feel like Meek is like, he's literally, I'm seeing the way he's handling the Puff stuff. You know, it's like he's playing himself to where now you played yourself in, you went from the street guy to now you're the joke. And he's single-handedly doing it to himself.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I cannot refute that. I mean, from each tweet to each tweet, it's like he gets on Twitter asking the common fan for legal advice. Or if they got a lawyer or something, it's like you're sitting here with billionaires and stuff. Like, use your network, brother. Like, but stuff like that, people are like, huh? But I don't know.
And the Ross and Meek album was not good either. That
wasn't good. But I feel like I think that was a contractual, like, getting something out of a deal type album, and you could tell. The thing about Meek is like, not only does he play himself, it's like you battle throughout this thing of when you want to be socially conscious and then you want to get on and pop your shit, and it's like it's just like now nobody takes you serious no more, bro. It's like, sadly, that's what's happening to him. And to revert back to T.I. stuff, I don't think it's the character stuff, and I'm jumping around. I don't think it's the character of Young Wild Tip that makes it so hard for people to digest him. It's, again, the outside stuff with Tip. You know, the situation he said about his daughter. You know, you had a lot of people hate him. getting on and beefing with somebody, going back and forth online, and then you know him trying to do comedy. It was other things for a while. T.I. was always cool. Like people would joke about his wordplay and how he talks or whatever, but T.I. was still like it was cool, and then it went from him not being cool no more a little bit due to social media. So you know, social media kind of be like, you know, people be victims of
Well,
their
I
own
agree with you, and I think
social
that
media. What you were saying, Mike?
I agree with you. And you know what? Us bringing up Meek, I say I agree with you, and I think us bringing up Meek is apropos because both of these guys are a victim of social media, and I
Yeah.
think that T.I. is a victim of social media in the sense where when he had open reign and had this, you know, just unfiltered channel where he could let the fans know who he really was, they didn't like him anymore. Like you said, the thing with his daughter. I mean, just talking too much,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And I say that respectfully. It's like that people, you know, it's a thin line when you have fans and people who really buy into you as an artist and your music. If you start talking in ways where they're like, man, what? Like, I don't fuck with what he's talking about. They won't like your music anymore to a certain extent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why you have people like Beyonce who don't do social media, who don't do interviews. Kendrick doesn't do social media or interviews. They fear the moment that they say something that their fans could just totally flip. But T.I. took that to the next level. And you're right. I think that has affected his legacy as well. Just
But the
saying
only
way too much.
I think T.I. kind of stopped it before it got real bad, like Meek though. Now T.I. is coming back in to all right, this is just mature T.I. He's just because like I said, I love the interview he did with the Breakfast Club with Dro today. That's the tip that I like to hear stuff from. And the way I see him handle it, like when Dro kind of, got into it with K Dub a little bit, T.I. had to bring it in. Hey, remember what we here for? Like, this is T.I. the leader. This is T.I. as a grown man, you know what I'm saying? And I felt like he stopped it before he got into playing himself entirely. And Meek, there's no coming back from Meek. You know, I'm just gonna be honest. I don't see it. He's put himself in, he's a walking meme, bro. Like, you don't know.
You're right.
You see the memes of him and Puff wearing the same shirt, you know, him at WrestleMania, they dubbing his voice over stuff. The it's like unfortunately Meek has became a laughing stock, and I think T.I. is still like he didn't make it to that Meek status of, you know, playing himself too much. So yeah, man, I don't know. I feel like T.I. has done enough where he can step away, ride into the sunset on his next endeavors. And honestly, to keep it fully 100 with you, T.I. has the type of charisma and the type of open mind to where I could see him actually kind of being where Snoop is.
Right. As an elder statesman, like kind of carrying like an elder statesman in hip hop as time goes on.
Yeah, I could see him like kind of move into what Snoop do, because we've never, honestly, there's nobody else that made themselves more of a likable person outside of music than Snoop. I think Snoop is arguably probably the most famous hip hop artist ever. You know, and I put him above Jay as being the most famous hip hop artist ever. Like, everybody knows Snoop. You know, my grandma knows Snoop. You feel me? Like, people outside, no matter how many races, they know Snoop. If you ask them to name a rapper, they know Snoop Dogg. So
you know who else is transitioning like that?
What's
50,
up?
50's making the moves like that.
Yes.
Like Curtis 50 Cent Jackson being on The View, writing books, doing the TV thing, producing, building the film studio. He's moving in that direction as an elder statesman in hip hop. That's the relatable. Everybody know 50. You know, the other folk call him 50. You know what I mean? We on the Today Show and shit like that. So I think 50's moving, and you're right. Tip can move in that lane too.
Moving that lane, like I feel like he has the business sense. You know, he has the he's a likable person. I'm not gonna lie. There's sometimes you can catch Tip and he's kind of out of character and you be like, reel it back in. But Tip, he got a lot of game to give. He, you know, when Tip is in his right mind, he ain't with the shits. It's like Tip is actually a really likable guy, and he can actually translate to being where Snoop is, you know, if he plays it right.
No doubt. What do you want to touch on next, man? You want to touch on this this discography discussion with Eminem and Kanye, or you want to get into J.Cole?
We can get into Cole, man. Why it's hot. We can get into Cole.
All right, go start it up. What you think about the joint? We touched on it last night a little bit, but what's your thoughts on the record?
So I think Cole spitting. I think he was spitting. There's a few things I didn't like about it. I feel like you're still explaining yourself, bro. You know, I thought your best explaining was when you got on that stage and you said why you was taking the track down and why you're not getting into it or whatever, and then you get on here and it's kind of like you're apologizing, and then you saying these niggas are my mans, but it's kind of like, nah, I wouldn't have lost. I would have lost a friend, and it's kind of like it's still kind of like you kind of popping and shit, but it's kind of like you like feeling like you're too ahead of them, like I'm above y'all, like oh no, I'm the bigger man, and I don't know if I like that I'm the bigger man approach, you know. When you actually engaged in it, just because you pulled out don't mean that you wasn't with the shits either. Like don't try to make it seem like you the bigger man in this, and you when really you was Trey asking Doughboy to let you out the car. You know, that's really
right.
You know? Like keeping a spade. But yes, Cole spits. But hey man, I was just kind of off it, bro. Give us something else. You know, you have given us the features. You had a hell of a feature run. We can see you get busy on the features. Just go to this album and give us a dope album. But you're explaining and you have this way of feeling like you're the bigger man. I don't really know how to feel about that, bro. Like, you know,
I'm with you, bro. I thought I was gonna be
yeah.
the only one on that soapbox. It's like, see, this is the thing about Cole. Everybody likes Cole, and I get that. You know what I mean? And I think that with certain people, people give them a pass because they like them and they're nice people and all of that, and that's cool. But even nice people do sucker shit and make mistakes. But see, this is happening months after the fact. You sat here and let the whole industry gang up on your guy Drake, or a guy that you say is your guy, but you want to go out here acting like you keeping the peace. I don't get that. And the fact that you just went out here of all times and made a record with A$AP Rocky when you already know what's going on with that. It's like you trying to play the middle out here and you acting like you don't want to engage, but you did engage. And it feels like you only stopped engaging because niggas really wasn't feeling the records that you put forth. And I think it's kind of whack too that you put out a mixtape called "I Might Delete This Later." So this almost seems premeditated.
Yeah, like
It was
you
like you
throwing the
sit here
water
hedging your bets, like, yo, if niggas ain't fucking with this shit, I could just delete it. You know what I mean? It's like, huh?
Yeah,
But everybody's cool with this because it's Cole. If Drake did the same exact shit, people would be calling it for what it is.
if both of them did it, if Cole did it, if Kendrick did it, if Drake did it, it would have been ugly for both of them. And
yeah,
you can't give Cole a pass just because like, oh, he wasn't with it, his heart wasn't in it. I was like, bro, I know the process of what it is going to the studio. So you couldn't have been that hot in the head and fired up that night that you was just you blacked out when you just went in there and wrote that and went and recorded it and did your dubs and all that. Nah, bro, like it's like you literally dipped your toe in the water to see if it was hot. And all right, let me, I'm not in the pool. And that's that's why I say I don't like that a little bit, man. If you're gonna put something out there, stand on it. If you don't want to take it there, then cool, you can bow out. But it's like I kind of feel like you threw the rock. Like I think you said this, Mike. You threw the rock and hide your hands, and then it's like I'm the bigger person type of approach, and it's kind of like stop it with that.
Well, people saying like who's giving him a pass? Everybody who's not calling this for what it is giving him a pass. Because again, if this were somebody else that did this, if Jay-Z or somebody that people don't overwhelmingly love in that way were to do something like this, they would call it for what it is. And this is corny. I don't know if this is Cole's way of trying to, that's the other part of it too. Like you're trying to figure out a way to keep the buzz up for your new effort, because let's be real, the buzz that went down for his new album since all this stuff happened. You're still trying to piggyback off of this beef that is between those two guys that you elected to not be a part of. And I don't know what's up with all these Michael Jackson references with all these guys, but the Beat It reference and all that, yes, you're putting yourself in the place of a quote unquote peacemaker, and you are far from a peacemaker in this situation. You engaged in the records, right? When niggas was out here coming at the guy who took you out on tour, gave you a #1 record and all of that, and Drake, you wasn't telling Ross to stand down. You wasn't telling Future and any of these guys to stand down and let these two guys handle it. You weren't doing any of that stuff. Honestly, man, you just bowed down to Kendrick with what it sounded like to me. I mean, that's what it sounded like to me. Like, what you did was you put out that record, you said all that stuff on the record with Ab-Soul and all that, and then you got out there in Dreamfest, which is your prerogative, it's cool. You basically said, man, I don't want it with Kendrick, because you know what? Kendrick doesn't seem to value that relationship publicly in the same way you do. Because what has Kendrick said? Has Kendrick said anything like Cole's my man, any of that shit?
Nope. And you know, the thing about Cole is like he shitted on his own rollout. I've never seen an artist in a long time have the best setup for a successful album like Cole.
Drake set him up even more too.
Oh man, like you had the feature run, you had the joint with Drake, you had, even if you would have just gave us the album and not did what you did on that Dreamville stage, people still would have been like, all right, he dissed Kendrick. You really had the perfect setup and you literally imploded it right in front of our face. And now it's like you're trying to save face. And I just don't know how this, I don't know how it's going to work from it kills the excitement, you know, it kills the anticipation.
Let me get to the super chat real quick, guys. Mad Max in the super chat says Cole and Dot get protected. Cole's weak, soft as Charmin. But one thing real quick, is I think that if we look at Drake, we look at K-Dot, we look at Cole, I think he can save himself, because if you go bar for bar from a rhyme perspective, he's the most talented, he's the most gifted MC of the three, in my opinion. I think he can rap better than Kendrick, he can rap better than Drake. So I think if he can fall back into his bag and drop a dope album, I think people will forgive him based upon the music. Now he got to get away from this beef and all this apologizing and sideways talk. But if he goes back to just rapping, I think he can get out of it and drop a dope album.
Yeah, I don't think this record you just put out helps it though. You know,
right.
We're kind of like I'm not gonna say they forgot about it, but it's kind of like if you would have gave us a fire record instead of speaking on this, then it was like, okay, you kind of get our ears back again. But it's like now you spoke on it again, it rehashes the feelings that we have for you stepping out and bowing out of it. And it's just kind of like I don't see how that helps you with the momentum going into this new project.
No doubt. Let me get to Mad Max real quick. Mad Max with a super chat says, I would have lost, bro. Okay. And then just die every day, B. You'll be all right. You tough, right? Camera voice. Time your paper soft towel rappers, but put your mic down. Never rhyme again. Come on, Mad Max. The man can rap, man. Don't be like that. Mad Max says Cole showed more heart fighting Diddy for Dot than battle. Laughing my ass off, scary bum. You on one tonight, Mad Max.
Yeah, man. It's kind of like I don't know what it is with Cole. I kind of feel like sometimes you spit like you want to be competitive, and then when you had the moment to really kind of pop your shit, you bowed out. And I guess he's saying, "Oh, these are my friends," and I knew I would have got personal. I still don't see it going to the point of where Cole and Kendrick is going, because I really feel like Kendrick,
that's such a cop out though, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because really, man, when it came to Cole, all right, let's just say, yeah, the Kendrick and Drake stuff, yeah, that could have gotten personal or whatever.
Yeah.
But when it came to Cole and Kendrick, and honestly, at the time, that's really who people wanted to see. They wanted to see those two bar up. That wasn't going to get personal unless Cole got something that he don't want, people to know out there. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. But obviously, Kendrick holds no punches. And, it is what it is. But what it sounded like to me was Cole just don't want it with Kendrick on that level. And really, the way that Cole is great as he is as an MC and as talented as he is it really puts Kendrick in another stratosphere because it lets people know that, yeah, Kendrick's willing to do it. Kendrick's has the ability and the stomach for it in a way that Cole just doesn't. And honestly, man, we can just say what it is, man. Like, that really affects how much people even want to hear a new Cole album. Because like you said, man, we don't really want to hear you talking that, crazy vibrato anymore. I mean, that stuff is gone. You need to go make a backpack album at this point, which is fine.
And,
but
honestly, him bowing out, it kind of put a stamp on his rollout. But now you're like I said, if you just would have did a dope record and give us this, you could have built us up again, us getting around to liking you and what you have to say again. But now you're
the
going
GOAT shit's done.
Explaining it, and then you're kind of playing this, I'm bigger than you, but I can still fight. I get busy, but just let me know. It's like that guy that's always saying I can fight, but you never see him spar with nobody. It's like, I don't like it.
And when the fight was on, you didn't fight. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
and if you don't go against one of them, who's gonna be your test? You feel me? Cole may be one of those rappers that go now is not really having a test.
Well, see, I didn't even like the fact that he tried to make it seem like, this was going to go the violent route. This was not one of those things. This was not the game. This was not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Right. Let me. Matt Max in the super chat says, "LOL." Now I will say this: when Sean and Dot went back and forth, and Dot Element song got leaked, Dot did go personal with Big Sean talking about his girl. Dot will always go personal. That's the guy he is. Man, at the end of the day, man, we just want to hear some music. Like I said last night, I think the music will speak for itself. If Dot drop his album and it's hitting like that, then it's hitting like that. If Cole drop his album, Drake got some. Let's put out the music because this beef. To me, this beef wasn't really. I mean, it was exciting for a little bit, but I think J. Cole tapping out kind of took the luster off because he's the best MC out of the bunch. So he got to put the music out, and the music will be the judge.
But see, I think this really affects his music, though, Ron. I mean, he could be a dope MC on paper, but when your subject matter and your energy and everything that people know you to be great for is stripped, what kind of album is he going to be able to make that's going to spark the interest and really, speak to where he is right now as an MC? Because all of this build up, all these features that he talks about, being the best featured artist and this and that, that's GOAT talk. You can't talk GOAT talk no more. So now the best you can do is to go out there and make a reflective album. Really? I mean, really, what kind of music? If you're sitting here executive producing J. Cole's album, Ron, what are you going to sit here and tell him to do? Let's just say you're producing his album. What's the direction right now?
Right. It's got to be introspective. It's got to be reflective. It's got to sound like the song he did with Future and Metro. It's got to be on that type. Red bottom shoes. It's got to be on that type of vibe.
But Cole's also always kind of been reflective. That's the thing. It's kind of continuing what he already did. It's nothing different. And like to Mike's point, he can't necessarily be out here and be I'm the GOAT talk and the braggadocious. I could outspit anyone when we know you don't want to get your hands dirty. So it does put him in a conflicting thing of what is your album going to sound like now? Because are we going to get another reflective? Forest Hills Drive was reflective. That's my favorite Cole album. But
that's mine too. I don't want to hear another Forest Hills Drive at this point.
Yeah, what is the next thing we're gonna get from you? That's that net scale. And I kind of felt like you had the perfect setup and you shitted on your own work, man. It's like I don't know where we go from here for him.
Yeah, I don't know either. And I don't know how you get people energized to want to hear what you're about to do next either. Like I don't know. I mean, I don't have the answers for that. I think he ruined that. Maybe he wasn't thinking about all of this when he did it. I really don't even know what he was thinking when he went out there on that Dreamville stage and did what he did. I don't know. That seemed like a real knee-jerk, scared reaction. And I don't know if that's something that came from the higher-ups, because obviously there was a lot of people involved in, coming to Drake or whatever. I don't know if it came from that place, or I don't know if it genuinely came from the place where it's like, I don't want to battle Kendrick Lamar, but on its surface, all we can take it for is I don't want to battle Kendrick Lamar. I don't want it with him. And then after what happened with, Kendrick and Drake, it makes J. Cole look even more scared.
Yeah.
And shout out to Drake for coming with the records and sparring with a dude that was willing to make up fake children and stuff in a battle. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yo, Mike, did you hear today? They saying, I heard a story that the girl might be real. She gonna get with Act and drop the exclusive.
Well, I seen that Drake drop the DM trying to prove that it wasn't his. I mean, I never really cared about that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like lies are spilt on both sides. So when people get hung up on who told what lie and what lie sticks and whatever, it's kind of like, I think it takes away from the battle itself, because both of them lied on each other. Both of them said wild shit. Like, and this is the thing about hip hop.
Well, some lies are funny though. Like,
some lies is entertaining. I mean,
like,
it's the of a battle.
When he said, your back is up against the curb. I mean, that's funny, or like when you 36 in a karate class, Tabo Ho, that's funny stuff. But to sit there and make up a whole child and the trauma that the child is going through and stuff, that's a little bit out there. You know what I mean? That's not funny stuff to make up.
Right.
I feel like everything, like I said, there was lies on both sides. The lie started with what Drake was saying, and you got okay, you want to go low, you want to be messy, okay, then I'm gonna show you how dirty I could really get. It kind of went Jerry Springer, you know what I'm saying? Like, how lower can we get with who says the worst about what? And I think Kendrick kind of won that battle on the mudslinging, but
for sure.
Yeah, he won a battle with mudslinging, but both of them did. I mean, come on, like you telling this man his baby is not his, and this is why
it might. He said might. He didn't say
but
it was.
You're planting that seed, bro. You know what you're doing. You're planting the seed. Right. You're showing the screenshots where you see his wife is following Dave Free, but not Dot. You know what I'm saying? This is a little corny shit, and it's like they did mudslinging on both sides. So I hate when people are biased to one versus the other when both of them like they participated in the mudslinging. Not only that, Euphoria. This is why I say, because I know you was bigging up Family Matters last show.
Yeah.
On Euphoria, Dot already said, you thought I had problems on the family front because you heard Mr. Morale. And that's the beginning lines of the record. He can predict his angles, and then you hear Family Matters. And that's why I say Family Matters, like, he got it, everybody. It was solid. But when you really hear what Kendrick did on Euphoria and he called out, it kind of already played into what Kendrick was saying he was going to do, as far as like the Dave Free stuff. Now, when you go back and listen to Euphoria, you had problems on the family front. Oh, I could predict your angles and stuff like that. And then you hear what he came with. Like I said, it was kind of like prophetic. And that's what I was saying. That's why it kind of takes away from Family Matters on me, even though it was one of the most solid records out of them joints. It's kind of like Kendrick is sitting there and he puppet master, bro. It's like he kind of
Kendrick's playing chess the whole time. Like, he was 3 steps ahead in this whole battle.
Yeah.
And again, that back to Cole, it kind of solidifies the fact that Cole was scared. And it's a difference between saying, you know what, I'm gonna be the bigger man, and that I'm scared. And so, as far as the GOAT talk and the vibrato that Cole comes with, if somebody had to ask me based on what I've seen and what I've heard and how this whole thing played out, was Cole being the bigger man or was he scared? It appears that he was more scared than being the bigger man, because he put these records out there. And he knew, I believe he knew how calculated Kendrick was going to be.
Another thing about this, I think Cole was scared on the point of how dirty he knew it can get.
Yeah, I agree.
Those skeletons or whatever he had exposed. So I think that was more so the fear of not wanting to get that dirty. That's all I think it really is. Because
again, if a friendship was valued on both sides, he shouldn't have had to worry about that part. He talking about he would have lost the bro. Kendrick didn't care about that, obviously.
But the thing about it is, it's confusing to me. And again, Might Delete Later wasn't really personal. I mean, he was dropping some subliminals and some direct shots the whole album against Kendrick, but it wasn't grossly personal and nasty by nature. It was just,
I agree.
competitive. So I don't understand what the fear is competing. Let me get to the super chat real quick. Lord Versailles says Port Antonio is exceptional. Ninja explaining. Leroy with the super chat says, Mike, if I'm executive producing Cole album, I'm telling him he keep the same GOAT talk because everybody apologized before and he actually made a diss song anyway.
Nobody wants to hear GOAT talk from Cole right now.
Nobody.
I mean, it's just, I mean, because it's like you had your opportunity to solidify that, you did.
Yeah, and you know, and here's the thing about them too. It's just like when you see that they're ready to go that low, yeah, you said, oh, I'm not ready to go that low. But it's like, don't say, oh, but I would have, if this would have happened, then I would have lost the bro. And it's like I don't know, man. It's like when you there, you need to throw hands and then you leave. Oh man, if I would have did this, but man, if I no, I didn't want to knock him out. It's like I don't want to hear that, bro.
Yeah, like, man, you just need to chill with that talk, man. Don't say anything, man. Like, I look again. Even if he wanted to back out of this thing, I would have had no problem if he didn't go out on stage and do what he did and just made this record. I would have been okay with that. But going out there on stage and doing what he did, that was unnecessary and it was extra. It really was. What was that?
I mean, I do feel like what he said on stage is probably genuine. It's just kind of like I never seen no shit like that in hip hop.
It just never needed to happen, though. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was genuine, but it's like, honestly, man, again, if that's your brother like that, that could have been a conversation behind the scenes.
Yeah, man. Like I've never seen that before, bro. And you know, and I'm tired of people acting like it has anything to do with who's the better rapper. These battles, these beefs on wax has nothing to do ever with who's the better rapper. It's about who could like embarrass each other the most. They didn't care about who was a better rapper when it was 50 and Ja Rule. You know, it doesn't. It's always been a mudslinging contest. It's always been that.
Yeah.
When you think about these great hip hop battles, some of it has truth, some of it had lies, some of it had a lot of exaggerations. When you think about Dre versus Easy or NWA and Cube, or when we think about Jay and Nas, we think about all these great battles. All of them came with mudslinging, bro. Like it came, people took it there. Now just say you didn't want to take it there.
When I think about it though, Siobhan, this nigga got on stage and was like, who loves Kendrick Lamar? He did that. Then he goes, makes a song with A$AP Rocky. And then he goes out here Negro-splaining on this record. Like, this might be the worst battle rap run from an MC ever. And then he deleted his damn diss records.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen anything like it.
I mean, we've seen somebody apologize for taking too far, and Hov did that with Super Ugly, but
I mean, but now that's different though. This is a series of things.
Because the distance kept happening from Jay after that. He was just like, right, Mom said something, I have to step in. And I still didn't like that then, but I see it when Mom step in, you gotta take what Mom's saying. But like even when we think about Jay and Nas, there's mudslinging there. Like it happens in hip hop. Anybody who really engaged in real battle was not above the mudslinging. Not even Nas himself, not even Jay themselves. Like everybody. It's what these beefs are
Any
about.
battle you could think of, man. DJ Quick, MCA, you know what I'm saying? Like MC Light and her battles, DMX and Corrupt. Like it goes on and on, man. And again, I know we love Cole, and I know Cole's a nice guy and he's a great MC. But to say that he is absolved of this is ludicrous, man. Like even Ludacris and T.I., everybody who has engaged Pusha T and Drake, all the battles that Drake has been in. I mean, really, I know Cole is nicer on paper than Drake, but just as battle tested as Drake is, and the hit maker he is, how can we put Cole over Drake?
Yeah, man. Like in every great.
I mean,
has a time
I guess we could say ghostwriters and stuff, but I mean, other than that, man, like
I mean, Mike, you know Cole can rap better than Drake. Let's just talk about
it doesn't matter, Ron.
Cole's a better rapper out of the three.
There's a lot of people that can rap better than a lot of people. But if we look at the totality of it, I can't put him over Drake in good conscience. I can't. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people who word for word that can rap better than other niggas. That doesn't matter. It's more than that.
But he
like,
has a
you know what I'm saying? Like Rise Guys can rap better than a lot of these niggas. So what?
Yeah, he has a point because, like we said, Cole is a better rapper out of the three. I honestly think that. But when we start waging like
I agree with that.
Careers and certain high points in careers and what happened and whatever, it's like, oh, we're just gonna put Cole there just because I out rap you niggas. I'm rapping, I rap. I tell you niggas how dope I am. Nah,
I'm
bro.
gonna say this, man, and I know they say Cole might be listening. There is no big three. It's big two in this generation. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Nah, man, I can't say that, man.
You gotta earn your spot, man. I mean,
think you got to.
I can't throw away all what he's done, that feature run, and be like, nah, he just tossed away. Where does he fall then? Where does he fall if he ain't in that conversation? You know what I'm saying?
We can't just put the crown on his head, and he hasn't went through that full challenge to get it.
Especially when he had the opportunity to do so. It's really like somebody who had, playoff potential in these things, and then they finally get into the playoffs and they freeze. He's James Harden, man. Let's call it what it is, dog. He's James Harden. Yeah, can James Harden bust niggas' ass in the regular season? Pause? Sure. But when James Harden gets in the playoffs, we know what he's going to do. We know he ain't going to win no championship, and it's not about that for him.
From every GOAT that you have, right? For every GOAT that we had in every era, they have been battle tested and stood through it. Yeah. That's literally, like I said this in the past show. We give people certain crowns because what they've been through as far as a career and what they got, the wins that they have. And honestly, it's no different. Cole, you have all the stats. You have all the stats to be a Hall of Fame player. But
yeah. When you have all of the attributes, like you have all of the skill sets, you didn't apply them where they needed to be applied. This was an opportunity, and this was a place where it needed to be applied. And again, we all know that bar for bar, Drake doesn't even stand in the same world as Kendrick. But the fact that he was willing to go out there and try to go bar for bar with somebody like that speaks a lot to him. Now, J.Cole's the person that could go bar for bar with Kendrick. And he elected, I don't even want to, he elected to not do so. I'll put it that he was scared. Let's keep it a buck. He was scared. Yeah, Drake wasn't scared, and he didn't even have the lyrical ability or skill to even go with this dude.
So he has the stats for a Hall of Fame career, but no chip, man.
The only thing he can do to get the chip is drop to fall off. And he said he had 2 classics in the chamber. So if he dropped 2 classics, then we'll see. I mean, that's the only thing we can see. I mean,
I don't believe it. I mean, I just don't. I don't think he got it in him. But that's just me.
But it's just funny though that folks that's just knocking Cole in the chat about him not engaging, give Eminem a pass when folks been going at Eminem, especially Game, been going and he never really responded.
Well, you know how I feel about that,
Right. So but it's funny though, the same folks riding with him is dogging Cole. It's just funny to me.
Eminem's, you know what? The smartest thing Interscope ever did with Eminem's career is make 8 Mile. They got people thinking that B-Rab is a real person. They got people thinking that 8 Mile. Man, I saw Complex. They ranked 8 Mile as the number 2 hip hop biopic of all time. See, that's propaganda. Ain't no damn biopic. It's a made up story.
No, because we got there's document that that's documented that was in an underground rap league. There's video.
He was not. You want to know what that was, bro? This was Wendy Day trying to figure out a way to market Eminem and get him recognized by record labels because Unsigned Hype and The Source didn't work. So they put together a quote-unquote Rap Olympics because there were no Rap Olympics after it. The 97 Rap Olympics. They put it together to showcase his talent out there in LA because they knew Interscope people were going to be there watching. He didn't even win that. Rhyme Fest won that, rightfully so. But yes, It wasn't like he was going through these battle leagues and all that. It was a one-time showcase.
I don't know, Mike. There's people from back then, even the people that he battled and stuff like that. There's footage, there's interviews and stuff. That stuff's kind of documented. So I don't know about that one, man.
Yo, did you see, Siobhan, the thing Mike sent in the thread about Mike Dean, producer extraordinaire?
I don't like that comparison.
Who came up with this comparison? This guy says, Elijah says, if you combine Kanye and Eminem's discography, what are the top 5 albums? Mike Dean responded, top 5 are Kanye's first 5 albums.
I hate that comparison, man, because Eminem is not, his albums is like, those are not real all the way rap albums to me. You know, I love the Marshall Mathers LP. I love the Eminem Show, which Eminem Show is my favorite Eminem album. But like, you can't compare Kanye to M. It's two different bags, man. You know, M has already spoke plenty of times about who he know his demographic is and what he did music for. I mean, I was spoke about a lot on the Marshall Mathers LP, and people still get stuck in the fact that, oh, M is this, M is that, and it brings along a lot of unnecessary M slander. Now, I do believe M got away with saying a lot more than a lot of other artists can because he's white. I do believe that. But I do think that M has the technical rapping ability to out-rap a lot of rappers when you think about it. But do I like his music now? No, I don't enjoy it. The last album wasn't bad to me, but I think it's more so just M's delivery to me that I don't really dig too much no more. The way he rhymes now. But like, M is not totally full. That's not fully rap music to me. You know, his albums, you feel me? Like the things, the subject matter, the beats, stuff like that. I feel like that don't compare to, you know, college dropout, late registration, graduation, what was the other record that had Monster and all that on? It's one of my favorite albums.
You talking about My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy?
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Like, come on, man. That's my favorite Kanye album, you know, as far as a masterpiece of it being orchestrated and put together and voices being heard. Like, I don't see that with M, you know. I feel like, and they both have their producer bags. We know Kanye's a better producer than M, but I just kind of feel like they can't be compared, bro. It's not comparable. I hate that comparison. I actually hate to see that type of stuff on the internet because they're not even in the same realm as careers and music.
Right. I mean, yeah, I think the comparison is kind of odd. I think Mike Dean is right, but you can't really compare. It's like apples and oranges, right? You know what I'm saying? You talking about like a Bugatti and a Honda Accord. It's two different things. Well, that's kind of harsh, but Kanye's music was well crafted, well sequenced, well curated from a production standpoint and from an MC standpoint. And M's was too, for what they were, but they're two different things, brother. Two different things.
Yeah, like because even when we line up their projects, they can't be compared, bro. Like I said, it's two different types of music. It's not comparable, bro. Yeah, we know M could rap better than Kanye, but Kanye's put out the better sounding sonic music to sonically, just to me as well. It's like there's so many different areas where Kanye did it for me compared to M, and it's just like, but I don't think that's a knock on M. It's just like they're two totally different catalogs or two different styles of doing music and demographics that they appeal to. I can't compare them, bro.
No doubt. Well, man, let's get out of here, man. I did a show last night. I'm doing a show tonight. I might be on the couch again tonight, man, because I'm doing too many shows. My wife is going to get upset. But I love hip hop so much. I love this according hip hop so much. We got to keep pumping it out, man. So I stepped in for Mike tonight. Mike will be back next week. But yeah, man, we had a good show, brother. What's your final thoughts for the night, man?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna say I always say I want to check for the best new music. And if there's any underground or some artists that y'all see bubbling, throw it out here, man, because I want to hear the new stuff. I know I constantly say I want to hear good music, and I know I say that more so appearing to the mainstream artists. But yeah, if it's dope, it's dope. So if y'all know of some dope stuff, send it my way. I'm just shouting out on IG. That's JASHAAD 904 on IG. If y'all know some dope stuff, send it my way. And we're gonna keep it moving, man. Ready to hear what we got to talk about next week. There's a lot going on. A lot of the same stuff, the same people and developing stories, but nonetheless, hip hop is a thing that we keep going.
Actually, man, before we go, did you want to touch on that Universal situation? You got
hell yeah, that was the biggest thing.
Yeah. Let's go. Breaking news from Servan. Breaking news. What's going on that front, bro?
Oh man, that was big. Yeah, so Fred Durst and Limp Bizkit, they're suing UMG, Universal Music Group, for over, I think it's over 200 mil, and it's saying that they withheld some royalties from them, and there was something else set up to purposely hide those royalties and what they were owed. Now, what was said is like Limp Bizkit and Fred Durst, they hit another like resurgence of their music with people going back and revisiting those albums, and that they weren't getting paid for everything. So when they opened it up, UMG discovered, oh, there's like a few million we did owe them, but they're saying, hey, you guys owe us more. Like all this stuff is adding up. Let's go see what's really in there. And not only are they finding, not only is us, there's probably a slew of other big artists that this label is withholding money from as far as royalties and whatnot. And if this is to be true, and if they open up Pandora's box, if UMG don't find a way to settle or wiggle their way out of it before it makes other artists to start to dig into it, this might be one of the biggest things in music business news that we could think about, because just UMG, if for anybody who doesn't know, they're one of the biggest music labels ever. You know, they have Taylor Swift, they have a lot of big artists on UMG, and if that happens and a lot of artists discover there's some money that has not that they deserve, and we're talking about millions and millions of dollars, that could open up a big ass thing for other labels too, for other people to start digging into things. So I think that article is a really dope article. It was on Apple News. If you guys haven't got to it, check it out. But I'm ready to see what the new developments of that is going to be, because I think that's massive, not only for hip hop, but massive for a lot of artists that was on that label that's not even hip hop, that probably have some royalties or some money that's owed to them, because we constantly hear about the business of music and streaming and what that translates to. But here, these are royalties, and they're talking about over 200 mil, and this is Limp Bizkit. So let's think about the current artists or more relevant artists that did probably bigger numbers more recent, that they could find, hey, you guys didn't give us, we're owed some more money. So it's crazy to see what this can grow into, man. And I'm tracking this one, because that's gonna be big, man. And Fred Durst and Limp Bizkit, man, y'all keep your heads on a swivel. Things get ugly in the music biz.
I know my man Free in the chat said R.I.P. in advance to Fred Durst. Let's not wish that, but man. It's a grimy game, man. It's a grimy game. But hopefully they'll rectify. That's a lot of money, man. But like Q-Tip said, industry cats are shady, man. You know what I mean? It's a shady business.
Man, if they're talking about over 200 mil in royalties, and that's for them, just imagine other artists that's probably owed more. And if you guys are, and I know a representative, I think used to work at the label or something about that within the article, was saying, oh, it's probably like an error with our new tool that we use to do that, and it's just a simple audit that needs to be ran, and it's probably over exaggerated numbers. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to say, and we'll figure it out. Yeah, I bet you they will figure it out
right
before it explodes. And I just want to see how far they're willing to take it to get for that money, and how whoever else is going to follow suit. And this might, if not, be the biggest thing in music news. I know a lot of people are stuck on the Diddy thing, which rightfully so is like one of the biggest things. But hey, man, I think this for this to be happening and this is not being talked about enough is crazy. This could be big.
Right. It could be.
They're just talking about it. They're griping about it on the internet. They're actually filing a lawsuit for this. This is something that's ongoing, and we don't know how it's going to go. So, you know, I know a lot of people like to talk about a lot of scandals and the drama in hip hop, but this is just music business alone. Outside of hip hop music business alone, these labels, and if they find out they're withholding royalties and doing all that, and these artists are really owed more money, man, this can be big. So I'm following this, and if you guys haven't checked out the article, go check it out, man. It's a dope read with explaining their situation, and yeah, it can get ugly. It can get ugly real fast.
No doubt, man. Before I go, I want to say what I'm watching right now. My wife put me on this new show on Netflix called Nobody Wants This. It's about some podcasters. She's a female podcaster who's falling in love. Great. You know, it's kind of out of an element with hip hop. When I watched it, it reminded me of Insecure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like that show.
So it kind of they do this a lot. They take, you know, things that we do, you know, and they kind of make mirrors of it, like kind of like Friends and Living Single. This kind of, when I watched it, I said, this kind of reminds me of Insecure, but it's a dope show nonetheless. Nobody Wants This. The Vince McMahon documentary on Netflix is very insightful.
That's dope. I just finished that this weekend.
Yeah, I just started the first. I'm on episode 1. So,
without giving it away, what I take away from that documentary is the mindset of that guy. And when you start going into the business mind of Vince McMahon, and you start looking at what we looked at over the years as far as the product, it's amazing. So, you know, I know he has a lot of allegations, and, you know, of course, you see they touch down on, you give a little disclaimer every episode of the parts. But as far as the business sense, it's crazy, man. So yeah, let me know how you feel about it once you done.
Yeah, we'll do a review. We'll get back on and do a whole review, a special episode of the McMahon series, man. But those are 2 things I'm watching, man. Let us know if you're watching something on Netflix, Tubi, Prime, whatever y'all checking out. Let us know. We'll top it up on a special episode to talk about that. But again, man, tap in with us. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. We appreciate y'all for rocking with us. Get us to 100,000 subscribers so we can do that big festival. Appreciate you, Savon. We'll chop it up next week on Monday, and we'll be here, man. Peace.
All right, y'all.